right, we are looking at I don't know why we just got so loud so quick. Maybe because you're all ready. Actually, maybe that's fine, because if you're ready to check your homework, that's fine. We're looking at 222. I want any questions that anyone has. So we talked about 51 a little bit yesterday together. I'm going to pull my sheet out, so just check your answers for a second in just a moment. The reason that we're going to turn this stuff in today, / you can turn it in tomorrow if you don't have it done, is the grade cutoff for quarter 1. Now, I'm betting you've talked about this in at least a class, but I don't know if everyone has really understood it. So how discovery days and grade deadlines work. Quarter 1 is not over until discovery day. However, we can't continue to grade quarter 1 and expect you to be mastered. For a second, so you have nothing to look at. So, this Wednesday is the last day of grading for quarter 1, unless a teacher tells you otherwise. We are still existing in quarter 1, but then the grades will go to quarter 2 and matter for quarter 2's discovery day. So you have from Wednesday, really Thursday, Friday, because you'll get papers back on Thursday, Friday, to get everything quarter 1 turned into a check, turned into a mastery, whatever you need to do with it. That should be enough time, should be for most of us, unless we've dug ourselves a pretty big hole of work that we are behind on. So, anything that is in MAP right now needs taken care of. It's all quarter 1. But the next test we take, that'll be quarter 2. So we've taken all of your masteries in here for quarter 1 already. We're done with masteries for quarter 1. So the last thing you're turning in for me for quarter 1 are these practice assignments we're going to turn in today. So I just wanted you to pay attention to me for a second. Here's your answers back up. There are lots of things you could do in 52. There are a lot of things you could do in 52. When we're drawing number lines, guys, just a thing to work on as we go forward, try to make your number lines look relatively how they should. The space between 1 and 2 should not be a whole lot bigger than the space between 2 and 3, right? We should try to space things nicely, especially since you might have done that one on graph paper. Remember, I've got the little quarter sheets of graph paper over there by the full sheets of graph paper. If you ever just want to grab a baby quarter sheet and staple it onto your paper, you can do that as well. Anything over a 9 is gonna repeat. In class, we talked about division by 7 also repeats because it creates those funky decimals. So that's a repeating decimal as well. In 55, we've got a little fraction subtraction to do. Fraction subtraction. Questions? All right, at some point today, now seems like a good option. Turn in 221 and 222. At some point today, please make sure your name is on it. I'm not very good at identifying your handwriting. If you don't have it done, turn it in later or tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. Get right. Do I have any important reminders? No. Math binders. If your locker is starting to get too crowded, this is mainly an offer for people who are up to date, because if you have homework to take home, your binder should go home. Everyone look over there to that shelf. That game shelf. What's up? Ooh, let's go over it. Sorry, we'll go back to that conversation in a second. For 55, we have the question of how did we get that answer for A? So hopefully, if you don't know how to do this problem, you didn't turn in your paper, be like Vanessa and say, wait a minute, I need you to explain this. The first thing we get told, Evan's uncle gave him money. Do we know how much? No. But then we know Evan plans to put half in his savings account, spend a fifth of it on bubble gum. Yeah, that's a lot of bubble gum. He's going to share it with his friends. Okay. Oh, and buy comic books. Oh, with the money he has left. So this money he has left is what gets spent for comic books. So we start with the amount of money his grandpa gave him, which we don't know what it is. So we call it 100%. Right? It's all of the money his grandpa gave him. But that's really just one. If he puts half in his savings account, what's 1 minus a half? A half. So you could just do this subtraction first to get the money in the savings account. Then we're going to spend a fifth of it on bubble gum. Code this pink because bubble gum is pink. So then we need to subtract a fifth. But can I subtract a fifth from a half right now? No, why not? Common denominators. So let's zoom in on this important work. 10 is a good option. How do we get there? Ooh, times 5 over 5, be careful, and times 2 over 2. This will become 5/10 minus 2/10, leaving me with, and that is what I have for comic books, because that's what is left. So that's my comic book money. That's my portion. Sorry you couldn't see. You guys got to tell me when I'm writing off the screen. So times 5 over 5 times 2 over 2. We get 3/10 after we do some fraction subtraction. If you didn't have this problem done and you did not copy it down right now, I don't understand you. Like, seriously, I'm trying to, like, help you guys out. If you just sit and stare and you're like, oh, I'll do that later. Like, why? Why make that choice? Later means doomed. If you haven't heard that, we had a teacher who used to teach here. He is retired now. But one of his sayings that I loved is later means doomed. Don't tell yourself you do it later when you can do it right now. So then, if his uncle gave him $30, we can start to compute using that as the total amount. But I am not going to finish this problem for you. If you need more help, I want you to come see me or ask each other. Guys, we got to start using AO and extension. I do homework all extensions. Guys, like a few of you are in here at extensions just hanging out doing homework. I just do homework problems, all extensions. All right, let's do our lesson. Are there lesson problems for 223 in the handout I gave you yesterday? That's what I thought. But before we get to the, well, let's go ahead and highlight one thing. Oh yeah, when we go over homework, it's a really good time too. Today is a little tight because we're trying to move forward. And tonight's homework's actually a little easier. Or today's lesson. I don't want to use the E word. Actually, I have a present for you before we start. So go ahead and pull out the worksheet for today. Pull out your packet. And I'm going to deliver a present to your desk. Katie, what's up? There is a new packet. Did we give out the new packet yesterday? Yes, you did. Okay, if you missed the new packet, I know some of us maybe did, depending on when we got to class.
I got some.
So Katie needs one for sure. Thank you, Miss Lynn. So, now I will tell you to make the decision you're about to make carefully, okay? I need you to reach into this bag and pull out a handful. Now be careful. Be careful how big of a handful you decide to pull out. But pull out a handful of these tiles. Everybody needs some tiles, so we have to share. They do look like tile spacers, if you want my honest opinion. Have you ever done any tiling work? They look like tile spacers. Alright, there's only two of you here, right? I'm going to still see my tiles. Alright, everyone got a handful? Put them out on your desk. Put them out on your desk. Wow, I got you quiet really fast. Oh, by the way, what do you always need every day in math class? Graph paper, finally, I think I heard Farah say. So if you don't have graph paper, please get graph paper out. Alright, we have all of our tiles. What do we notice about these little tiles? They're like, Antonella? Yeah, they're kind of rubbery. They have like a smell or whatever. If you put them in your mouth, they probably have a taste. We don't need to talk about those things. Yeah, we don't need like smell, taste, feel. Like, Farah, what do you notice? Hey, I don't know why we're talking over each other. Farah just told us some really good information. Say that again. Ooh. So if we turn it sideways, we might call this the multiplication sign, but do we use the X for multiplication anymore? No. We use the dot. So far, I love everything you said up until that point. We have the addition sign and we have the subtraction sign. Now what these actually are positives and negatives. So I want you to grab your graph paper and we're going to label this 2, 2, 3. I should probably just get some fresh graph paper. If you need some fresh paper, get some fresh paper. No fresh paper. I have lots of fresh paper. So these have a name. I'm giving you a second, but guys, you talking tells me you're ready for me to move on. So you talking says we don't need any more time. We're ready to move on. We're going to call this lesson More Addition. So really, there's an old movie where there's this drive-through dude who keeps saying, and then, and then, and then. So addition is just and. It's okay, and. Okay, and. Okay, and. Okay, and. Every time we add, we're just saying and. So we now have, and guys, if you want to take a second to trace these, trace it. We have this. It's a little difficult to trace. And instead of calling it a plus, because we said we can use all sorts of different names, we're going to call it a positive. And these are actually what we're going to nickname integer tiles. I don't love that we call them tiles, but there's not really a better name for it. So this guy is positive 1. When I only have one of him. Sorry, my 1 looks a little weird. And then this guy, if we're calling the 1 positive 1, what do you think we're calling this one? -1, when there's only one of them, right? That's why I'm putting 1 in quotes. Because if we have 5, then we have -5, right? And then when we have a plus and a minus together, what do we get when we have a plus and a minus together? Layla? A 0. And we're going to call this 0 pairs. A 0 pair is every time we can group that positive with a negative and a number and its opposite cancel out. So now you might start to second guess how big of a handful you took. We need to first sort our positives from our negatives. So figure out how many positives. Yeah, now if you took like the entire bag, you're like, oh man. How many positives did you take? If you would like to adjust your handful, you may. All right, so bring it back up with me. So your pile is positives and negatives. I want you to write down how many positives. You don't have to write down the word positive and negative if you don't want, but you could. It might be a good idea. How many positives and how many negatives? So I don't want you to see what I'm writing because you don't need to write the same number as me. And tells us to add. So you're going to put your positive number, put an addition sign, and then in parentheses, we're going to put how many negatives we have. So we're going to put plus, and then in parentheses, a negative. I got a lot of negatives. How many positives, how many negatives? We should have those numbers written down. Don't worry, you'll get another chance to do a different handful. So I would write down, make sure it looks like my, well, I should show my paper again. So we want to write down how many positives, how many negatives. So here's what my paper looks like right now, guys.
This is what my paper looks like. It looks
pretty. Looks pretty. So I had 14 positives. I have 18 negatives. Now guys, hold on. Here's how we're going to figure out our answer. Give me your eyes up here real quick. Like pause your activity. I don't want to have to do like hands up or whatever. Move these tiles around now. So instead of doing positive and negative, make same tiles, right? Same tiles you had on your desk. Make 0 pairs. To make your life easier, make as many, pair up as many positive negatives as you can.
what if it's the exact same number?
Then I think you can tell me what's going to happen.
You have 0.
But you have a whole lot of something that makes nothing. We have all of these numbers here. But John just said he somehow has nothing. Now, John, I heard you asking earlier, give me however many more positives or negatives. I heard that happening, so I think you did that on purpose.
I only have 1 negative.
So, So now, because I didn't cheat like John, I've made all my zeros, but I still have these left over. Oh no. Oh no. I know, but you changed your pile. I said get a handful, and then you changed. I'm just giving you a hard time, dude. You're fine. You just did something on purpose, which is fine. You were trying to make the math better. So what this tells me, here's your answer. What this tells me is when I put 14 and negative 18 together, I get 4 negatives left over, and my answer is negative 4. If you end up with positives left over, your answer will be a positive number. Because essentially what we did was we broke up numbers to zero out. Give me your eyes back up here for one more second, and then I'm going to let you play for a minute. Eyes back up here for a minute. Here's what we did, guys. I split my negatives into 14 negatives to nicely cancel out with my other 14. But I also still had how many more? 4. Because to make 18 total negatives, I needed 14 and 4. These, guys, I want something like this in your notes, but you don't have to write it right now. Just give me a second, then you can copy. Your numbers will be different, right? But we made 0 pairs. And then we were left with negative 4. My leftover is my answer. So they were like left alone. There were no positives left, so our answer is just negative 4. Raise your hand if you're at all confused by what we're doing, and I will come around and check that we all have something like this written down. And then you can do it again. Put your tiles back in the bag, grab a different handful, and do it again. If they fall on the ground, please pick them up. If they fall on the ground, please pick them up. No, whatever numbers you have. That's why for a minute I didn't show my numbers. Alright, hold on. Let's maybe do a little bit of what's on our paper, because I realize people don't like empty papers. Get out 8 negatives and 2 positives. Get out 8 negatives and 2 positives. Put everything else like to the corner of your desk. I have more of these. I just don't know where they are. Sorry. I keep stealing from you. Eight negatives. 1, 2, 3. Eight negatives, 2 positives. Where are our cards? Man. Eli, when I make 0 pairs with my 8 negatives and my 2 positives, what are we going to end up with left over? Yeah, we're going to get negative 6. Guys, this is on your worksheet. This is on your worksheet. We make 0 pairs. They cancel out. Now wait. In B, I need Layla Graff to help me with this. If I have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3, if I have negative 5 and negative 3, like B tells me to do, woo, flying around here. B tells me I have negative 3 and, right, the plus sign is and, negative 5 and negative 3. What do I have in total? Do I make any 0 pairs? No, so what do we have in total? Negative 8. Clear your desk. Get out 2 positive tiles. Like clear your desk and then just get out 2. So you could just keep 2, I guess, if you just keep 2 out. No, well, of the tiles. Clear your workspace, I guess I should say. Franco, if I have 2 positives and 4 negatives, like C tells me to do here, what are we going to have after we make 0 pairs? Yeah, guys, you should be filling these in on your paper. When I walk around in a second, I should see answers here. Because I make a 0 pair there, a 0 pair there, and I make -2. You do not have to use the tiles for all of these. I'm going to walk around and check answers. You do not have to use these, but you can if you want. You do not have to. But I would like you to answer all the way to H. So try to answer the rest of these. We're making 0 pairs. If you can't make zeros, they probably team up. You want to make sure you have an equal sign. So we always want to make sure we have an equal sign. So you're accumulating. In the future, make sure you have an equal sign. I would check this one, though. I don't know what that one's correct. Make sure we're filling in our answers on here. So we're making 0 pairs. They're positive and negative numbers cancel out. As long as they're the same number. If they are both negative, do we make 0 pairs? No. So in D, what do you get in D? Anybody? -14. D, we have 7 negatives and 7 more negatives. We get -14. In E, because we want to make sure we all understand this. So if you're struggling at all, give me your eyes up here. In E, we're not there yet. Layla Davis, in E, how many 0 pairs will get made? Yeah, and guys, G starts to try to show us this. So give me your eyes up here if you would, please. I'm looking at E. And guys, what we're now doing, is saying, how can we take the bigger, quote unquote bigger, because it's further away from 0, how can we take the bigger number and break it to make 0 pairs? Because a +3 and a -3, they zero out, and we get just -1 as our answer. G, I'm skipping over F. G actually shows us that. I have a +3 and I have a -3. What happens when we have +3 and -3? They cancel out and we get left with just 5 for our answer. So, in 60, guys, this is on your worksheet. Let's look at this together. This is on your worksheet. Lucas, can you help me and say how I could break up the bigger number? And
For the 100, the -100, break it up into 2 with -50s, and have the one -50 cancel out the +50, and then be left with.
guys, Lucas said break -100 into -50 and -50. Right? If I split my tiles, like my pile of stuff, I'm not going to get out 100 negatives. But I can split my piles. Then, right here, Carmen, we okay?
Yeah.
Doing all right? We getting this written down on our worksheet on 60? I'm just checking because we're on a different problem now. These make 0. And we're left with negative 50. Make sure we put an equal sign. It's nice to put negative numbers in parentheses. See how the decimals are kind of annoying? Yeah, you're right. The decimals are kind of annoying. Because of that, I kind of want to stop doing this for now. You guys want to play a game?
Yeah.
Let's play a game. All right. Now here's the problem. I want to take on all of you. Me versus you. No? You're saying no? I'm not necessarily betting. I just want to take on all of you. Please make sure your positive and negative tiles get back in the bag. Nope. Read the paper I just put in front of you. The only thing I care is that you have this out right now. So keep out whatever you want to keep out. You don't really need to put anything away. Yeah, this is yours to keep. All right, please stop talking because I have a feeling that you have not read the rules. How to play the game. We will play rock, paper, scissors, or just roll a die to figure out who goes first. Player 1, so whoever goes first, places one number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in the square you choose. Then player 2 goes and places a negative number in another square and crosses that number off the list. Then player 1 goes again. Then player 2 goes again. We alternate the gameplay. At the end, add the numbers in each row and write each row's sum on the appropriate blank. Add the numbers in each column and write the sum on the blank. If it is a positive sum, if it's a positive sum, player 1 gets a point. If it's a negative sum, player 2 gets a point. So, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys be positive. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go first. So, no, because positive goes first. Why would you not want to go first? I mean, if you decide to switch next round, that's fine. But if you guys want to go second, I don't care. Do you just want to like flip a coin or something? All right, heads, you guys go first. Tails, I go first. Okay, easiest thing we can do right now. All right, you guys go first. It's just the easiest thing we can do. So, Clara, tell me a number and where you want to put it. You're positive, so you should probably pick a positive number. There's no wrong choice right now. Let's make this like Battleship. So A, B, C, D. I can't write on this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. So where do you want to put it? Might need to go over to my computer. It might not let me do this. C2. Franco, give me, or sorry, it's my move. All right, I'm gonna take your 8, and I'll put -6 up here. Franco, what do you want to put where? Like here? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to play -5 down here. Antonella? On top of here. Okay. Vincent, what do you want me to place where?
6 above the 2.
Above the 2. Ooh, good play. Mia.
5,
Layla, sorry, no, wait, I get to go. Doesn't really matter. You jam me up there. I can at least get, but do I care? Yeah. Eli. Here? Boom. Marina. Here? That's a good play. That's a good play. Yeah. Lucas, where do you want the 1? Top or bottom? All right. So now that we can understand, why won't you let me scroll? Oh, that's why. It's zoomed angrily. All right, so now we're going all of us together, and then I'll give you a chance to play on your own. We only have a couple minutes left, though. When we go to sum this, it's probably going to be easiest to make 0 pairs first. So if we got 0 pairs, which we do right here, so what's our sum end up being? 6, right? Because we still have the -1 and the +7. So you guys got this one. So you guys won on this one. Here, my 8 and my 8 cancel. So then this is -1. So haha, that one's me. We'll go Hudson in class. Let's just do that. Any zeros? No, but like, so what do we have? Positive? +7. Ooh, -7. Oh, the whole thing is a 0. That's a tie. Yeah. How much negative do we have? 11.
Oh no.
And my positive, or your positive, is only 6. So, +6, -11. 0 out. Yeah, we have -5. But hold on. Let's do columns now.
Okay.
So,
I know
woo. This 5 can make a 0 here, right? And leave us with how many negative? 3, 4, 5, 6. So -6.
We're getting smoked.
Haha, be positive. 8. And how much negative? 9. -1. How much positive? 12, how much negative? 13, negative 1. How much positive? 11. Ooh, these could just zero out. We got a 0 here. So, 8. Sorry, guys. I got you. So, you can play this with your friends. This sheet is just yours to have to play with each other. Every number can only be used once. Sadly, that's all the time we have, so you guys got to get out of here. Please put that in your binder. I'll try to give you time to play tomorrow. Guys, thank you so much. I saw you doing that. You're pretty awesome.